In this video, I'm going to talk about why I don't idolize celebrities by providing key reasons that have helped me to reach this conclusion. But before I get to that, hi, I'm Lonimi Maseko, and on this channel, I make self-development and educational content. If that sounds like something you're interested in, I hope you stick around. So, for quick context, I want us to make a clear distinction between admiring and idolizing a celebrity because I feel like these are two very distinct things. When we're talking about the admiration of a celebrity, I don't think that there's anything inherently wrong with that because you're admiring another person you've never met for their talent. And this can be an artist that makes really good music that speaks to your soul, or it could be an actor that is able to act in a in-depth way that helps to evoke strong emotions within you because you feel like their acting is very convincing. So in this context, there's nothing wrong in being inspired by the way in which this celebrity or famous person is conducting themselves in their craft and making the art that really attracted you to that person, right? But things become concerning when we're talking about idolizing a celebrity because this gets into another realm that I want us to really address. And I don't think it gets talked about a lot in today's society because the idolatry of celebrities has become so normalized. The first reason why I don't idolize celebrities is because it creates unhealthy parasocial relationships. So, to help really solidify my point, I would like to share with you this study that was conducted by authors in 2006, where they were evaluating the different types of parasocial relationships. So, according to this study, there are three types of parasocial relationships. So the one we can see in the green zone is the entertainment social type of parasocial relationship. And according to this study, this is where celebrities are the source of gossips between people. And honestly, I've been guilty of this. I feel like at some points, a lot of us have been guilty of this. You know, in high school, where I just transferred to another high school, and because I wanted to fit in this new high school that I was in, I felt like gossiping about celebrities with other friends would get me to be accepted and to fit in to groups of friends, right? But as time went on, and after I basically graduated from high school, I thought that this was kind of lame. I didn't really feel the attraction of gossiping about others and also celebrities, and I just stopped doing that. And it's really funny because once I stopped doing that after high school, all the friends that I used to gossip about celebrities with, they just stopped being my friends. So I think that's also a really good test to determine who your true friends are. When you used to gossip about another person or celebrities with your friend group, and all of a sudden you reach an epiphany, you change and you want to do better, and you stop doing those old practices, you're going to be so surprised by who gets to keep being your friend and who doesn't. So, like I said, entertainment social is something that I do believe that a lot of us have been guilty of doing. The second type of parasocial relationship is the intense personal type. And this is where, according to the study, a fan of a celebrity will start to develop very intense and compulsive feelings towards their idol, right? And for example, this could be that the fan of the celebrity would start to develop very strong romantic feelings towards that celebrity and see them as their soulmate, or we're starting to even see fans worshiping their idol, worshiping the celebrity. So the final type of parasocial relationship, which is in the red zone, is the borderline pathological type. So this is where the fan begins to develop uncontrollable thoughts and thoughts related to fantasizing about the celebrity and just harboring very, very pathological thoughts towards this celebrity they've never met. So this could be that the fan will start to stalk the celebrity's every move, daily whereabouts, who they're seeing, where they're spotted, who they're dating. And if, let's say, the fan sees that this celebrity is dating somebody that the fan doesn't approve of, then it could be that the fan will go as far as to even send hateful comments towards that celebrity's partner. So, all of this to say that idolizing a celebrity creates very unhealthy parasocial relationships that I really believe have become so normalized in society that we don't even question it anymore. We don't even try to understand it anymore. We just have normalized it so much that it has become so unchecked, right? And there's no accountability for the people that are engaged in that type of behavior. So there are some exceptions to the rule. For example, it could be that a celebrity is so incredibly talented that their talents transcends human understanding and human logic. Their talents could be outerworldly, and this celebrity could be they have amassed millions and millions of fans worldwide who honestly lose their mind over the celebrity. And the perfect example that I can think of in this case is Michael Jackson. So, Michael Jackson, once upon a time when he was alive, he was the world's biggest superstar. He had talents that no other human could compare to. When he would perform at his concerts, thousands of his fans would just cry for him. He didn't even need to do anything. He could just stand on stage for a minute and people would scream on top of their lungs, cry for Michael Jackson. And even there were specific personnel at his concerts designated to usher away fans that would end up fainting at the sight of Michael Jackson at a concert. Even if I personally wouldn't cry or faint at a Michael Jackson concert, I can really understand why people would react that way towards his presence, right? Because there was just no other person like him. And on top of being incredibly musically gifted, he was also incredibly generous. He donated about $500 million to charity, and it's even believed that he made even more donations anonymously. So I can understand why people reacted the way they did at his concert because he was just outerworldly. It was like supernatural. His presence transcended human logic and comprehension. There was just no other person like him. So in this context, I can understand why people reacted the way they did so strongly towards him. I believe this is where we're starting to explore the realm of intense personal relationship where people would just cry for him. They have such intense feelings towards Michael Jackson, right? I would say this is the only exception or one of the few exceptions where I can understand why people react that way. But overall, my argument still stands that celebrity idolatry, I don't understand why it's become so normalized because at the end of the day, idolizing a celebrity doesn't really benefit you in any way because they don't really know that you exist. So let's say you're pouring so much energy towards worshiping the celebrity. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with admiring. You can admire, you can support this celebrity's art by buying their art. But like, I don't know why we've normalized, obsessing and worshiping that celebrity, right? So let's say, for example, God forbid, something happened to you tomorrow and you were ushered to the hospital, right? Who are the first people that EMTs are going to contact when you are in the emergency room? It's not going to be the celebrities you obsess over, right? It's going to be people that are closest to you, could be family members or your friends. So I just don't understand why we have normalized celebrity idolatry today. So the next reason why I don't idolize celebrities is because it enables stalkerish behavior on social media. So ever since social media became prominent in the 2010s, it has really revolutionized the way in which fans interact with their celebrities. And one of those ways is through stalking celebrities on social media. So last year, I made a video about why I deleted Instagram. And one of the reasons I provided is that you get to spend an unlimited amount of time on this social media platform looking at other people's profiles, stalking their profile for very lengthy periods of time, right? And in the context of the video I made, I was talking about the fact that we are incentivized to spend very lengthy periods of time on this social media platforms without anybody to hold us accountable, stalking exes, or it could be people we used to be friends with, and it just gets out of control. But in the context of today's video, I'm going to apply that argument in the realm of celebrity. So when you are a fan of a famous person, you can also be incentivized on social media platforms like Instagram to stalk that celebrity's profile for lengthy periods of time. And honestly, I believe that this is not a healthy behavior and it needs to be talked more about because, like I said, it's become so normalized in our society that we don't even question it. We don't even hold ourselves accountable to it anymore, right? So I believe that the art of being discreet has become a lost art. And celebrities, some of them, they are addicted to the attention that their fans give them. They want to portray the lifestyle they have, what they're up to, and that kind of like the attention they get kind of boosts their ego in a sense. So I believe that before even social media was a thing, like in the 1900s, right? At the time, people would attend theaters, plays, to watch actors perform on stage. And there was this kind of like invisible wall between the performer and the audience, right? It could have also been a musician playing an instrument before an audience. So there was this level of mystique that surrounded the artist or the performers on stage, right? But as the years went by, and social media became very predominant in the 2010s and beyond, what started to happen is that this level of mystique disappeared because people now have more and more access to celebrities and what they're up to. It has caused a lot of people to really pour so much energy on famous people rather than pouring that energy back into themselves to look eternally, to look deep within, to find one's purpose and life mission, right? And I feel like the more you are sacrificing your precious time, which is finite, um, by stalking a celebrity's profile for lengthy periods of time, the more you are giving away your time for free towards people that have done nothing to deserve it, right? Let me make myself clear. When I'm talking about looking at a celebrity's profile, I don't think there's anything wrong if, let's say, you let's give an example. Let's say maybe you watched a TV show and you really liked a specific actor in that show and you're curious about the actor and you want to see their social media profile. There's nothing wrong if, let's say, you stumble on their profile and you just check their profile for like a few minutes. We're talking between 8 to 10 minutes. Fine. But it starts to become very unhealthy when you would stay on that person's profile for like an hour or even more than that. And that's the argument I'm trying to make here, that when we are giving our time away for free, which is very finite, to other people, we lose our sense of agency and we lose our ability to go eternally and find our life purpose. So the next reason why I don't idolize celebrities is because at the end of the day, you don't know who a celebrity is behind closed doors. And this is pretty self-explanatory. Just because a celebrity portrays themselves a certain way in the limelight, we don't know who they are behind closed doors. One thing we have to understand is that famous people, they spend a lot of money curating their public image, right? And who they are behind closed doors doesn't always match with the public image that they have. And that's why what have noticed over the years is that a lot of some people have become disillusioned because, let's say, a celebrity that they used to obsess over their entire life ended up not being the person they thought they were behind closed doors, either because they were exposed by people who were wronged by that celebrity, and the fan is shocked because they thought, oh my gosh, this celebrity was so kind. And I'm hearing that they are completely arrogant behind closed doors. They treat people very poorly, and that it creates this disillusionment. That's why it's so important to vet people, including celebrities. Like, don't be quick to um, put them on a pedestal, because at the end of the day, you've never met them and you don't know who they are behind closed doors, right? And even if I don't idolize celebrities, I've been guilty of this where I have put people in my life on pedestals before. And these were crushes, and I honestly regret it, but you learn from your mistakes, right? So the thing is, when you put a person on a pedestal, you're kind of like unconsciously saying that this person is better than me automatically. Even if you didn't vocalize it, even if you didn't say it, you're basically saying this person is better than me and I'm inferior to this person. And that is not the way to be and feel about yourself. As human beings, we were all created the way we were, with our unique traits and our individual skills. And yes, it exists that in this world, there were some people in this world, or there are some people in this world that were given specific talents that make them very unique. But it doesn't necessarily mean that their talent makes them superior to other people. No, right? So the moral of the story is to just never put people on pedestals, period. You can, like I said, admire, be inspired by other people, but just honestly never put them on a pedestal, because you're going to be so disappointed once you find out the type of people they really are behind the limelight. The next reason why I don't believe in celebrity idolatry is because it creates fanfiction problems. So, this is something that I believe doesn't get talked a lot about in the realm of celebrity culture, but it's something that needs to be addressed, because writing fanfiction stories about celebrities has become so normalized in modern society that we don't even question it. We don't even feel like there's anything wrong with it, right? So, hear me out. I feel that when a person is using the real name of a celebrity in a fanfiction story to satiate their romantic fantasies about this celebrity, it comes across as exploitative towards said celebrity, right? Now, inherently, I don't have anything against fanfiction. I feel like when you're writing fanfiction stories that involve fictional characters, that's fine. Like, let's say, for example, a person decides to write a fanfiction about fictional characters like Harry Potter characters. That's fine, because at the end of the day, the person isn't using a real celebrity's name in their story, just fictional characters. But things begin to become problematic when the person is basically using the name of a celebrity in their story as a character to satiate some romantic weird fantasy. That is something that has become so normalized, but inherently it's not normal behavior. So, growing up, when I was a teen, when I was in high school, I noticed that whenever a popular boy band would gain a lot of notoriety worldwide, and gain so many fangirls, people would obsess over this boy band. And the thing is, I noticed this trend of fanfiction stories reading about these boy bands. Okay. And the thing is, when you're writing a fanfiction about a celebrity, you're using their real name into your story. And what people need to realize is that words are incredibly powerful. What we think, what we say, and what we write, right? They're so incredibly powerful. We don't understand how powerful our actions are, right? So when people write fanfiction stories about celebrities, it comes across as really selfish and exploitative, especially when in this context a lot of these fanfiction stories involve said boy band members, where they are forced into a romantic relationship with their fellow boy band mates, whereas in real life they have a platonic relationship. Or it could be that the fan that's writing the fanfiction is idolizing or imagining a romantic fantasy about the celebrity, where they will start to write that story in this fanfiction involving the real name of the celebrity boy band member, and just the story becomes borderline creepy, it becomes sexual. Like, I just think we have really lost the plot because people forget that celebrities are human beings, right? They have real emotions. They're real. They're real people. They are not just some deity that people envision in their mind because they worship the celebrities. And that's the thing. When you worship a celebrity, you kind of strip them of their humanity because in your eyes they are not human. So you basically just engage in selfish behavior. People engage in selfish behavior because in their mind they're like, oh well, this celebrity will just never even know that I did this. You're just so famous that they wouldn't be bothered to even read this fan fiction of mine. You'll be surprised. There are a lot of fan fiction I've stumbled upon that were recommended to me over the years that had millions and millions of views involving this celebrity that's in a boy band. I just think we need to be really careful with the way we use our words because we can use words to empower others or honestly tarnish other people, even if we may realize we're doing it or not. At the end of the day, celebrities, they're human beings. And when we write fan fiction about celebrities, it strips them of their dignity and agency and humanity. The next reason why I don't believe in celebrity idolatry is because it is a form of worshiping gods. So, thousands of years ago, BC, people used to make sacrifices and offerings towards gods that they were worshiping, right? And polytheism was very, very prominent at the time. But as people's belief systems evolved and people's worldview changed over time, monotheism became more predominant, giving way for religions such as Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. And I believe, and you don't have to agree with this, but I believe that just like how people were worshiping gods in ancient times, in modern society, the phenomenon of worshiping gods has manifested into a brand new way, which is the worshiping of celebrities. Because when you think about it objectively, there's no reason to idolize a human being. You can, like I said, admire a person for their time, but to go as far as idolize a human being, it's something that we have to think about because, like, you just don't know who this person is. They don't know that you exist. I don't care if you are idolizing the president of a country, an A-list actor, or a very, very successful football player worldwide. At the end of the day, this person is a human being. So it's fascinating how just to what lengths people would go in the name of the celebrities that they worship. It's just fascinating to me. Honestly, I also believe that the reason why people worship or idolize celebrities is because when you inherently don't believe in God or you don't have a close relationship to God, you want to fill a void in your heart. There's this void that is in your heart, and you try to fill that void either through people try to fill that void through sex, fame, money, drinking, or idolizing celebrities, right? But what people end up realizing is that the more you try to chase other things, external things, it's never going to be enough. It's never going to satiate the void in your heart, right? Only God can fill that void, right? And I want to make myself clear when I'm saying that when people don't believe in God, they tend to idolize other things. No, it also applies to people that claim to be religious. So this is something that is in the human nature. We can idolize things. For example, um, for the longest time, I idolized pride and lust, right? And this is something that I've struggled with a lot for years. And every single day, I have to ask the Lord to help me, right? To help me conquer these strongholds in my life. And when you make God the center of your life, it's easier for you to be able to overcome the strongholds that seek to weigh you down throughout your human experience on earth, right? So that's why it's so important to have an anchor in your life. I'm not making this video to make you feel guilty. If let's say you're watching this and you idolize celebrities, I don't. My goal isn't to make you feel guilty. I want to tell you that hey, I idolize things in different ways too, and it's not something to feel ashamed about, but rather it's something to say, okay, I'm aware of this. How do I change my ways to have a to live a healthier life? What can I do to make room for better things that will fulfill me in the long run, right? So that's the thing. In a world where there are just so many distractions, wars are being waged, millions of people are dying. There are just so many distractions. Companies are being established to promote consumerism. Capitalist systems want more and more people to consume, more and more people to be distracted, entertained. It can cause a lot of people to lose their mind in a world that is very bent in promoting distractions, because I believe that society does not want us to turn inwardly, to shut down all the external noise and tap inwardly into what our soul and purpose tells us every single day it wants us to do, right? And that's why it's so important to have an anchor. And I believe the anchor is God. When you have God at the center of your life and you put Him first, you would feel like a weight has been lifted off your shoulders. And yes, it doesn't mean that the struggles you struggle with are going to disappear, or the things you idolize are going to, like, you're just going to stop idolizing them overnight. No. But when you put God at the center of your life, He will guide you and He will help you to conquer those strongholds. Take it from somebody that literally has experienced it, where I used to struggle a lot with strongholds that were trying to weigh me down spiritually, and I had to literally surrender all of those struggles, those sins I was going through to God. And it's the best decision I ever made. One of the best decisions I've ever made. Say hello to my little cat. His name is Simba. Say hi, baby. Okay, I'm gonna let him go because he's becoming a bit agitated. Okay, so the final reason why I don't believe in celebrity idolatry is because when you idolize a celebrity, it undermines your creativity. So when you're obsessing over a famous person, right, and you allocate so much time, you pour so much time and energy into that person, obsessing over that person, it takes away from your ability to be creative, right, and to be unique. So, for example, let's say you spend so much time consuming celebrity news, celebrity gossip. How else are you going to find time to be creative and harness your creativity? So that's why I believe that idolizing celebrities is something that not only it's not productive, but it also undermines one's ability to be creative and to think outside the box, kind of thing. We need to make room for our creativity to prosper and to lead us to doing things that are out of the box. If you spend so much time obsessing over a celebrity and what they do, and you want to mimic what they're doing, how are you going to express your individuality if you're doing this all the time, like obsessing over a celebrity? So that's why it's so important to understand that, like, you have a talent, you are very unique, and you need to pour back that same energy that you spend idolizing celebrities towards yourself, because you'll surprise yourself when you tap inwardly and you allow for your creativity to bloom and prosper. You're going to be so surprised by the things you can accomplish in your life. So if you've made it to the end of this video, I'm so glad you did. Would like to hear from you. Were there some points that I made in this video that you agreed with, or did you disagree with those points? Do you feel like idolizing celebrities is not that big of a deal? If so, please tell me your thoughts. Or if you agreed with some of the points I made, please explain to me why. I would really love to hear your thoughts. And also, if you want to learn more about some of the things I do, I invite you to visit my website, www.lonimimseko.com, so that you can see some of the books I have written. Thank you so much for making it to the end of this video, and I'll see you in the next one.